the time. It was capable of 334 miles per hour. Although below 20,000 feet, it could be outmaneuvered by both Spitfire and American. Its greatest disadvantage was its range, little more than 100 miles out and back on a tank of fuel. These planes, there were between 800 to 900 available for the Battle of Britain, were flown by highly skilled crews, mostly trained before the war started, whose average age was 26. Although there were a number of other planes available, the backbone of fighter command aircraft were the Supermarine Spitfire and the Hawker Hurricane. They were the best all-round fighters of their day and could outmaneuver the Messerschmitts, especially at lower altitudes. Goering is recorded as saying to Hitler that to win the battle he would like a squadron of Spitfires, and it is the Spitfire that has come to symbolize the Battle of Britain, even though it made up just 31% of operational fighter planes when the battle began. The men who flew these planes came not only from Britain, but from Ireland, Poland, Canada, and indeed all over the world. Unlike the combined air fleets of the Luftwaffe, the RAF used separate commands for the fighters, the bombers, and the patrols over the coastal areas of Britain and enemy-occupied areas. Commander-in-Chief of Fighter Command, in charge of these precious young lives, and who was pitched into a war of nerves against his German opposite Goering, was Air Chief Marshal Sir Hugh Dowding. Controversially, he had warned of the danger to Britain if the RAF were thrown into full-scale battle against the Germans during the campaign in France, and had held back the bulk of his forces. In view of the losses sustained in France, he was wise to do so. Of Dowding's 4 operational air groups, only 2 were available to defend the south of England from attack. 11 Group, under Air Vice Marshal Keith Park, and 12 Group, north of London, under Air Vice Marshal Trafford Leigh-Mallory. By August, the RAF could call on some 1,300 operational fighter planes, compared to about 869 fighters and 875 bombers for the Luftwaffe, although the RAF was seriously disadvantaged in that its aircraft was stretched to cover the entire British Isles. Moreover, their achievement seems all the more incredible, as their task contained a double jeopardy, for they had to try to down the German bombers whilst simultaneously fending off and chasing the Messerschmitts. On the 10th, some 70 planes appeared over the skies of the docks in Cardiff, and as their payloads of bombs screamed down, the Battle of Britain had begun in earnest. The docks at Portsmouth and Southampton were also targeted, and suffered severely under the German attacks. Continuous waves of bombers and fighters were to sweep in over England, penetrating ever deeper, an unstoppable blanket of destruction. The date was set for August the 10th, and codenamed Adlertag, Eagle Day. On the day of his greatest hopes, Goering was frustrated once again, this time by bad weather, and the grand attack had to be postponed. Next day the weather was no better, but uncoordinated Luftwaffe attacks went ahead. On the 13th, with heavy cloud cover, several formations were already airborne when the attack was postponed yet again. Those in the air were left to fend as best they could with no precise orders. These initial battles were no less ferocious than the major engagements still to come. The Luftwaffe were targeting RAF airfields, but often the wrong ones. For only 32 or 53 sorties between August the 12th and September the 6th were flown against fighter command airfields. A major blunder. A secondary target for the Luftwaffe were the radar installations. But their failure to concentrate on the eradication of these vital stations was another serious miscalculation. There were only 6 large-scale raids on the stations along the south coast, practically all of which took place on the 12th of August. Thereafter, raids were spasmodic. Yet, without radar, the Battle of Britain might have ended abruptly with the invasion of Britain. The Germans underestimated its importance. Radar stood for Radio Detection and Ranging, and had been developed in 1935. Although their range of detection was only 80 miles, and ineffective inland at the time of the Battle of Britain, it was sufficient to seek out the German aircraft flying in from France. Neither could it detect planes below 1,000 feet until a second system was introduced to compensate for this deficiency. By 1939, Britain was circled with radar installations, but pilots were still only given 4-minute warnings of enemy attack. The Luftwaffe could be over the channel in 6 minutes. Those vital minutes made the difference between effective defense and entire squadrons being annihilated on the ground. The Germans assumed, wrongly, that the all-important operations rooms for the radar would be deep underground. Another reason why they did not pursue intense bombing at the stations. In fact, personnel were working in the huts below the aerial towers. As the fighting thundered over them, the teams worked on, plotting the enemy aircraft locations and relaying them to the group commanders so that the defense was not caught out. On August the 15th, the air over Britain was filled with bombers, and the Luftwaffe gave a foretaste of the intensive violence that was to become commonplace for the next 2 months. The Luftwaffe swept in over the southern coast, and for the first and last time, Air Fleet 5 bombers with fighter escorts from Norway and Denmark flew in with 2 formations over the North Sea to attack Yorkshire and Newcastle. This proved a costly mistake, for the first formation lost 15 planes, whereas the RAF lost none. 10 of the 50 bombers from the second formation were shot down. After that battering, Air Fleet 5 was withdrawn from combat over England. In the south, there were a greater number of raids, fortunately not adequately coordinated, that kept the RAF constantly chasing about the airspace. And it was not until early evening that a major formation with 200 aircraft was spotted on the radar. The warning was effective, for the RAF rose to meet them with some 170 fighters, and, as with another heavy raid shortly after, were able to disperse them with little effective damage caused on the ground. 500 bombers were deployed in total that day, in over 1,700 missions. The infamous Junkers 87, the Stuka dive bomber, so effective in helping to conquer mainland Europe, proved to be totally inadequate against the RAF and was withdrawn in view of the high casualty rates. Another problem proved to be the necessity of providing constant close fighter escorts for the bombers. but this handicapped a great many of the German fighter pilots in their choice of actions.
What are you doing, Andrea, Maggie, Jocelyn,
As the day closed, 75 German planes had been lost. The RAF was able to compensate for fighter plane losses. By September, 1,900 fighters had been produced, as opposed to just 775 Messerschmitt 109s. The lack of experienced pilots was more worrying. Losses were running at not much short of 1/4 of operational strength in August, more than the 320 pilots per month that the operational training units could turn out. The result was that inexperienced pilots were plunged into life and death combat with German fighter pilots who had enjoyed the privilege of a far longer and more rigorous training. Seen in this light, the bravery of the RAF pilots was all the more uplifting. Churchill knew this as well as anyone. On the 20th, he delivered one of the most famous and powerful of all wartime speeches that included a phrase destined to fill British hearts with pride and defiance. Never in the field of human conflict was so much over by so many and so few. Churchill had not aimed these lines directly at fighter command for their unstinting sacrifice. It was a grateful nation that later lay the words humbly at the feet of the men who so deserved them in those desperate days.
Bill O'Reilly to Newsmax TV.
Michael Reagan, Alan Dershowitz.
Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne, how are you? When you want real news from the most respected minds in America, this is what far left believe.
What we're talking about very simply is the power of the people.
This is where you watch Newsmax TV. Watch us on DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, Verizon Fios, and Dish, or download our free app. Don't have Newsmax TV? Call your local cable provider and request Newsmax today.
I have suffered my whole life with muscle cramping. When I tried Therapix, all the cramping went away. I initially applied it at the bottom of my foot and my thigh, and right away I was able to sleep through the night. Therapix is definitely a breakthrough. It's a little miracle. I can cook again. I can sit at my computer for 8 hours a day with my mouse and typing, and I don't hurt.
TheraWorks Relief is my choice for preventing and relieving muscle cramps. Maybe yours too. Get TheraWorks Relief today at TheraWorksRelief.com.
Look, isn't that Frank Thomas?
That big hurts.
Big hunk. Wow, Frank Thomas.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. You look like you could still be playing. That's what I said.
Well, I don't feel as strong or leaner. So, Frank, what's the secret? I discovered Nugenix.
I wish my husband did.
It's easy. Just send a text. If you're a guy over 40, text 369-369. Enter the word SHINE to get a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Nugenix is a unique man-boosting formula powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help boost your free testosterone levels. To help you go stronger, leaner, more energy and drive, more passion too. Here, try a bottle. And trust me, she'll like it too. Text 369-369 and your SHINE to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix. Samples are not available in stores, so text 369-369 and enter SHINE.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melber has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-428-1741 now. and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Mobo's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-428-1741 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-428-1741.
Self-oscillating. I started it, but self-oscillating after that.
On the 24th, the thunder of Luftwaffe squadrons and falling bombs were once again filling the air. Liverpool was bombed on 4 successive nights as the Luftwaffe sent over planes in ever-increasing numbers. To avoid the radar, they flew in low over the water to join attack formations once over the land. The German bombers were now being escorted with 3 times the number of fighters, a testimony to the effectiveness of the RAF. The escort role accorded to the Messerschmitts was a hindrance to the scope of their activity. But the RAF began to suffer increased losses until they almost equaled those of the Luftwaffe, losing 39 fighters on August the 31st, for the Germans' loss of 45. The RAF could not support this rate of attrition in men and aircraft for long if the intensity of the raids continued. The bombing was having a terrible effect on the airfields and communications, with maintenance teams occupied in a constant, desperate struggle to keep the situation on the ground as beneficial as possible, to support their pilots fighting for their lives and Britain's welfare in the skies overhead. Despite the heroic efforts, Britain was at crisis point. Dowding could not know that the Germans were wildly overestimating the RAF losses and could no more understand the ferocity of the British defence than the reason why so many planes came out to engage them when Britain was on its knees. German intelligence checked that 50% of the fighter force had been destroyed since August the 8th. The truth of this study, RAF losses accounted for less than 450 planes at the beginning of September, whereas the Luftwaffe had lost a total of some 900 planes by the end of August, an extraordinary feat flying by the RAF. After the war, Adolf Galland, a German fighter commander, recalled the demoralization of the Luftwaffe pilots, as day after day their attacks seemed to bring them no closer to success, and the strength of the defense never weakened. German pilots were becoming as exhausted as the British. On both sides, the pilots returned from sorties without their comrades. For the RAF pilots came the added horror of being machine-gunned once they had bailed out a stricken machine. From the Germans' point of view, the order to fire in such situations was if the pilots were rescued, they would soon the strain was unbearable. When friends failed to return, there was hardly time to mourn. Sleep overcame them to distract the thought that tomorrow might be the last time they would clamber into the cockpit of the Spitfire or the Messerschmitt. In the midst of this wealth of tragedy, a change occurred that no one realized was to last the poisonous venom Hitler's vile mind was pouring out.
You seen the Mercy blanket?
In late August, the Luftwaffe had increased its attention on ground targets closer to London. Pursued by an RAF fighter